Hello everyone, welcome. If you're new to my channel, I'm Jerred Z. I love doing photography in the Midwest. Nebraska is my specialty. The other day I posted a YouTube video of me finding this little spot. I had about a half hour, so I was kind of running around this land taking pretty quick shots, and I quickly edited some photos for my YouTube video the other day and for a couple of my Instagram shots and maybe for my Etsy store. And I overlooked one of these photographs, and I just wanted to do a little quick video showing you my process on how I look at these and then also how I edit the one photograph. So I was out at this little farmstead, abandoned farmstead, and they had this sweet light, by the way. Look at that cool light. That was right at the beginning of the driveway. But then they have this really cool Pontiac. It's either what is this, Le Mans? I don't think that's a GTO, is it? I don't know cars very well. If you're seeing two photos that look exactly the same, it's because I was shooting in RAW and plus JPEG. Accidentally forgot to switch my JPEG over to my favorite film recipe, but that's okay. We keep going on. But, you know, this is my first shot of this car. I immediately noticed this car in a cool little spot, and this is me just kind of walking around a little bit. And, you know, I saw this, took a picture, and then quickly in editing kind of dismissed it. And I was working it, you know, getting close, getting some of the details, and I saw this that was on the hood. You could see it on the hood right there, which I thought was kind of neat, little details of what the farmers, you know, they use their cars for storage and or their junk for storage and to put things, and it's just kind of interesting. And, you know, this shot made the final cut. I usually think about sequences. This photo by itself, standing on its own, isn't that great. But this photo, when you match it up with something like that, you begin to have like a photo essay, a photo story. And so I think about sequences quite a bit. I think about putting images on like a wall, even though I rarely do that. It's the way I kind of work and the way I kind of see things. So I'm going along, and I'll show you the edits that I kind of looked at. I saw this one. I didn't like the sky. The sky wasn't rendering that great. So I was cutting a little bit of the sky, and I did like this little pile of junk. But then this photo, although I edited it, I didn't really enjoy it that much. You can see me getting closer. I did go in and I brought out the Pontiac and that a little bit more and brighten everything up. My favorite shot of this sequence is probably the wider shot. These are all with the Fuji X100V, so it's a 35 millimeter, and I just like this shot a lot. The sky became, in editing, what I wanted out of the photograph. That's just one raw file that I'm able to bring back the sky with. And then I kind of, after this shot, I knew I was limited on time, so I left this area and went over and shot more of like the house and stuff like that. But during editing, or during this morning's little editing session, I found this shot that I had originally passed over. So it looked more like this. We'll just reset. We'll reset the. It looked more like that, and then in editing, that's where I got it to, which I like a lot. The sky really makes a big difference. So I wanted to show you kind of how I did that. So this should be the same shot. Is this the raw file? No, I think I copied this shot. Oh, I copied it, and it's at the end. Okay, so I took this file, and I usually go with a base of, in my Fuji files, I go to classic negative. I really like that quite a bit. And then what I do is I usually warm it up a little bit. So I'm going to take the warmth and I'm going to boost that up. What I'm going to do now is look at, we'll do a little bit more warmth. That's too much. Okay. So we're going to look at the sky. So I am going to use my awesome masking tools, and I'm going to click select sky. Now it's not going to select all of the sky that I want it to. So I'm going to go to plus right here on Lightroom, and I'm going to add to the selection by using a brush, and I'm just going to add that part. And I don't have to be perfect because the areas that are right close to, I can make my brush smaller. The areas that are close to the background are kind of dark and nondescript anyway, so I don't really care too much about it. I am not a lunatic with my editing. I am, but I'm also not. I don't spend like tons of time getting really crazy with the details, and that's just me. I like wider brush strokes and stuff like that. So I've got the sky selected, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring some of that sky back in, and I don't really care if the trees get darker, because the reason why, because I kind of like that natural vignetting. So I'm going to bring my highlights in. I used the wrong, I shouldn't have used exposure. And we'll lower our whites just a touch. All right, so now I need to go back and fix the overall contrast on the image. The overall contrast is pretty low now. So I'm going to exit the masking, and I'm going to see if I could do some of that here. I'm going to increase my shadows quite a bit, and that looks pretty good. And then I'm just going to look up here, and on the image, I'm going to increase my contrast. That does a pretty good job. And then I want to warm up aspects of this photograph that I don't want to warm up the sky, so I just want to warm up the bottom part. So I'm just going to use another quick mask, a brush, make it pretty big, paint all in here. I want that dead stuff to look a little bit more colorful. So I'm going to bring a little bit more color there, and then I'm going to go back to my original settings and say, is this cool or not? We'll increase the exposure, and I think that's pretty sweet. From start to finish, I will do a couple final touches. I'm going to go down and increase the texture because there's some fine detail that I would like some increased texture on, which is cool. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of a vignette, a touch, just a little bit, to push us right into that Pontiac. So that's the start, and that's the end. And I like this a lot. This is pretty cool. It's fun. I love editing. This photo is one that I completely passed over, like I said, and now it's one that I enjoy. So I hope you got a little bit out of this. I'll be putting this now maybe on my Etsy shop next, because one of my New Year's resolutions is to put more stuff on Etsy. And if you have any questions over anything and how I edit stuff, go ahead and ask. Thanks for being here.